The Constitution of India, Part 3. In this part, we'll see Article 239 to 300A and Parts 8 to Part 12. Now, Part 8. The Union Territories. Article 239, Administration of Union Territories. 239A, Creation of Local Legislatures or Council of Ministers or both for certain Union Territories. 239AA, Special Provisions with respect to Delhi. 239AB, Provision in case of failure of constitutional machinery. Article 239B, Power of Administrator to promulgate ordinances during recess of legislature. 240, Power of President to make regulations for certain Union Territories. 241, High Court for Union Territories. 242 is omitted now. It is related to Kurg, but it is now omitted. Then Part 9, the Panchayats. Article 243, Definitions. 243A, Gram Sabha. 243B, Constitution of Panchayats. 243C, Composition of Panchayat. Composition of Panchayat. Earlier was Constitution of Panchayat. 243B, Constitution of Panchayat, and 243C is Composition of Panchayat. 243D, Reservation of Seats. 243E, Duration of Panchayats, etc. 243F, Disqualification for membership. 243G, Power, Authority and Responsibility of Panchayats. 243H, Powers to impose taxes by and funds of the Panchayats. 243I, Constitution of Finance Commission to review financial position. 243J, Audit of accounts of Panchayats. 243K, Elections to the Panchayats. 243L, Application to Union Territories. 243M, Part not to apply to certain areas. 243N, Continuance of existing law and panchayats. 243O, bar to interfere by courts in electoral matters. Then Part 9A, the municipalities. Article 243P, definitions. 243Q, Constitution of Municipalities. 243R, Composition of Municipalities. 243S, Constitution and Composition of Wards, Committees, etc. 243T, Reservation of Seats. 243U, Duration of Municipalities, etc. 243V, Disqualifications for membership. 243W, Power, Authority and Responsibilities of Municipalities, etc. 243X, Power to impose taxes by and funds of the municipalities. 243Y, Finance Commission. 243Z, Audit of accounts of municipalities. 243ZA, Elections to municipalities. 243ZB, Application to Union Territories. 243ZC, Part not to apply to certain areas. Article 243ZD, Committee for District Planning. 243ZE, Committee for metropolitan planning. 243 ZF continuance of existing law and municipalities. 243 ZG bar to interfere by courts in electoral matters. Part 9B, the cooperative societies. Article 243 ZH definitions. 243 ZI incorporation of cooperative societies. 243 ZJ number and term of members of board and its office bearer. 243 ZK of members of board. 243 ZL supersession and suspension of board and interior management. 243 ZM audit of accounts of cooperative societies. 243 ZN convening of general body meetings. 243 ZO right of a member to get information. 243 ZP returns. 243 ZQ offenses and penalties. 243 ZR application to multi-state cooperative societies. 243 ZS application to union territories. 243 ZT continuance of existing laws. Now part 10, the scheduled and tribal areas. Article 244, administration of scheduled areas and tribal areas. 244A, formation of an autonomous state comprising certain tribal areas in Assam and creation of local legislature or council of ministers or both therefore. Then part 11. Relations between the union and the states. Chapter 1, legislative relations. Distribution of legislative powers. Article 245, extent of law made by Parliament and by the legislatures of states. 246, subject matter of laws made by the Parliament and by the legislatures of states. 246A, special provision with respect to goods and services tax. 247, power of Parliament to provide for the establishment of certain additional courts. 248, residuary powers of legislation. 249, power of Parliament to legislate with respect to a matter in which state list is in the national interest. 250, power of Parliament to legislate with respect to any matter in the state list if proclamation of emergency is in operation. 251, inconsistency between laws made by Parliament under Articles 249 and 250 and laws made by the legislatures of states. 252, power of Parliament to legislate for two or more states by consent and adoption of such legislation by any other state. 253, legislation for giving effect to international agreements. 254, inconsistency between laws made by Parliament and laws made by the legislatures of the states. 255, requirements as to the recommendations and previous sanctions to be regarded as a matter of procedure only. Chapter 2, administrative relations. General. Article 256, obligation of state and the union. 257, control of the union over state in certain cases. 257A is omitted. It was related to assistance to states by development of armed forces or other forces of the union. This Article 257A is now omitted. Article 258, power of the union to confirm power, etc. on states in certain cases. 258A, power of the state to entrust functions to the union. 259 omitted. It was related to armed forces in state in Part B of the first schedule. Article 260, jurisdictions of union in relation to territories outside India. 261, public acts, records and judicial proceedings. Disputes relating to water. Article 262, adjudication of dispute relating to water of interstate rivers or river valleys. Coordination between states. Article 263, provisions with respect to an interstate council. Part 12, finance, property, contracts and suits. Chapter 1, finance, general. Article 264, interpretation. 265, taxes not to be imposed save by authority of law. 266, consolidated funds and public accounts of India and of the states. 267, contingency funds, distribution of revenues between the union and the states. 268, duties levied by the union but collected and appropriated by the states. 268A is now omitted. It was related to service tax levied by union and collected by the union and the states. It is now omitted. Article 268A is now omitted. Article 269, taxes levied and collected by the union but assigned to the states. 269A, levy and collection of goods and service tax in course of interstate trade or commerce. 270, taxes levied and distributed between the union and the states. 271, surcharge on certain duties and taxes for purposes of union. Article 272 is now omitted, which was related to taxes which are levied and collected by the union and may be distributed between the union and the state is now omitted. Article 272 is now omitted. Article 273, grants in lieu of duty on jute and jute products. 274, prior recommendation of President required of bill affecting taxation in which states are interested. Article 275, grants from the union to certain states. 276, taxes on profession, trades, calling and employments. 277, savings. 278 is now omitted. It is related to agreement with state in Part B of the first schedule with regard to certain financial matters. It is now omitted. Article 279, calculation of net proceeds, etc. 279A, goods and service tax council. 280, finance commission. 281, recommendations of the finance commission. Miscellaneous financial provisions. Article 282, expenditure deprivable by the union or the state or a state out of its revenues. 289, custody, etc., consolidated funds, contingency funds, and the money created to the public accounts. Money credited to the public accounts. 284, custody of suitors, deposits, and other money received by public servant and courts. 285, exemption of property of the union from the state taxation. 286, restriction as to imposition of tax on the sale or purchase of goods. 287, exemption from taxes on electricity. 288, exemption from taxation by states in respect of water or electricity in certain areas. 289, exemption of property and income of a state from union taxation. 290, adjustment in respect of certain expenses and pensions. 290A, annual payment to certain Devas Om funds. Devas Om funds. 291, Privy Council sums of rules omitted now. Article 2, Chapter 2, borrowing. Article 292, borrowing by this Government of India. 293, borrowing by states. Then Chapter 3, property, contracts, rights, liabilities, obligations, and suits. 294, Article 294, succession of property, assets, rights, liabilities, and obligations in certain cases. Article 295, succession of properties, assets, rights, and liabilities, and obligations in other states. 296, property accruing by inset or lapse as an bona fide vacantia. Article 297, things of value within a territorial waters or continental shelf and resources of the exclusive economic zone to west in the Union. Article 298, power to carry on trade, etc. 299, contracts. Article 300, suits and proceedings. Article 5, Chapter 4. After Article 300, suits and proceedings, Chapter 4, rights to property. Only one article in the chapter. Article 300A, persons not to be deprived of property save by authority of law. Persons not to deprive of property save by authority of law. So now property right is our legal right. It is not our fundamental right. Earlier it was fundamental right, but now property is our legal right. So this is the part 3 of the Constitution. We will see next articles and next chapters in part 4 in next episode. Thank you. Thank you very much. Jai Hind. Vande Mataram.